Hey guys, this is a video that you need to watch if you want to understand how to find any kind of issue within your business. This is part of the Bottleneck Buster Method and it's actually the second video in this series. If you haven't seen the overview video, go ahead and check that out. It's going to give you an overview of all of these 5 steps. The idea is that I'm going to go through these one at a time in a little bit more detail, using my case study in some cases to show you exactly what's going on. Stick around anyway, because this is going to be something you can implement straight away within any type of business. So this one is Find It. It's how to spot your real bottleneck in one afternoon. Now the first big thing here is to understand where your bottlenecks actually are. Now visibly, they may actually look like they're in one place, but they're actually in another. And that one place might look like somebody who's running around in circles. They're always complaining. They're always sweating. They're always working late. All of the kind of things that you would see where somebody is highly stressed and basically overworked. But the place where the bottleneck actually is, it may be something a lot more quieter. Basically, they've just got a massive backlog of things that they do. They get used to having that massive backlog and they don't really have any kind of interaction with downstream, and nobody really understands what's going on. So you can use this to kind of figure out, is this really where I'm seeing all of the panic going on, where this bottleneck is actually emanating from? And that's the key here when we're trying to find it. So here's 4 key signs that you may have a bottleneck. If you've got a process where the work queues up in front of it, there may be some kind of issue there. I'm not saying it's the cause, but it's where the bottleneck is starting to show up. Everything after a certain part of the process waits. Again, it doesn't have to be a physical environment. It could be physical or virtual, but basically people are waiting around for something to do. Something is always urgent, but it never gets fixed. This is a classic case of firefighting, because basically you fix something and it moves on, but everything is urgent all the time. And there's one person that everyone chases. This is so classic in businesses, that one person is the single source of truth for a lot of things and the single source of failure. These are the types of things you want to look out for when you're trying to figure out, have I got a bottleneck anywhere in my business? So what we need to do here is actually walk the whole process. So I call it the kind of one honest afternoon, where we're going to go and we're actually going to walk the work, which means you're going to follow the work all the way through the sequence. Now this particular example is an inquiry to delivery process. It came from the case study I used in my last video. Go and check that out if you haven't seen that. That's just an introduction. We're going to follow that job all the way through the process, and we're going to understand where the work piles up. Where does it actually sit and wait? Where do we start to see where the bottleneck is straight away? And then we're going to ask the team, what are you waiting for to get this done? Or what kind of things are you seeing that are causing this delay? Very important you involve the teams that are actually doing the jobs straight away. So this is the way that we kind of kick the whole process off. Now it doesn't matter where you are in the company and what part of the org chart you're in if you're taking part in this process. If you have a job, walk the actual steps it's going through, not the kind of levels it's going through. It's immaterial. The work doesn't care about titles. It only cares about a path completion. So keep that in mind when you're doing it. Don't fall into the trap of figuring out who's doing it at this stage. All we're trying to do is walk through the work process and the various areas it goes through. So in my example, Hafren, who had the process where they looked at loads of stuff that was happening in production, thought initially that it was the production process that was slow, and that's what they were going to focus in on. But the whole process is inquiry to quote to production to delivery. That's the very high level process they go through. What we actually found out, again, I kind of looked at this in my last video, is that the quoting process for this takes 4 days. That's the average quote turnaround. So what was happening is, as soon as all of that was quoted, everything was waiting and waiting to be quoted and then being released to the production all at once. So you were seeing the actual outcome of the quotes in production because everything was coming through and nothing was really getting level loaded through production. And we felt that the quoting process was the thing that could help to start with to actually start ironing this out. So that's what we did to find it. So the key thing is to find your bottleneck is to figure out where we think the process is actually breaking down first, and then look back upstream and have a look at where in your, when you start mapping out the process, things may be affecting that. If you can do that, you're going to start to have a really good indication of what you need to go into in more detail. So this week you can go into work straight away and you can pick one recent job. You can trace every step it took and know everywhere it sat waiting. That's the first big thing you need to do when we're trying to find areas that we can improve. So if you're not sure where to start and you're not sure where to kind of estimate what your bottleneck's going to be, you can go ahead and hit the link in the description over to my website. There's a bottleneck finder quiz there. That'll point you in the right direction. That'll allow you to put what your steps are, your process at a high level, how long everything is taking, and then it'll give you a good indication of where to start looking when you're looking for your bottlenecks. You can go and check out that. In my next video, I'm actually going to go to Map It, where you're going to start looking at that particular part of the process in more detail and map it out. Until next time, guys, if you like this type of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell. Until next time, take care.